الدنيا تضيق خلقك، الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك. هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك، بس بلاش العين. لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك، الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك. هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك، بس بلاش العين.
Who is the CEO of Constitution Hill to introduce, to speak, to start off our speaker lineup. I do want to mention that we do want to finish around 8ish, our main speaker lineup. So for all the speakers, please be aware that please try and keep it brief and keep it under 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll keep it well under 5 minutes. My job here today is just to welcome you all to Constitution Hill and to say to Nadia and the team and to everybody what an honor it is for us to have hosted you here this evening. I think it's very important in terms of the work that we do, and it's very significant that it's happening here in the women's jail. Firstly, for the reason that last year Ahad was here with us at Constitution Hill within a program that took place in the women's jail. But also because the women's jail and Constitution Hill as a whole in its previous horrific history was a place of incarceration for children and for families. I'm not sure whether Cecile made it here this evening, one of the ex-women prisoners who often supports us in these endeavors, who was incarcerated in the women's jail with her mother, Vesta Smith, as well as Sheila and Violet Weinberg, who were incarcerated here as well with Eli in the old fort. So I think it's appropriate that this event takes place here. And Nadia, I had such a panic attack on the weekend when you said to me it's Wednesday and we hadn't started. But I can assure you that my team are all here. We're pushing it out in social media channels. We're pushing the pledge thing out. And we'll continue to promote this exhibition and get people to come into Constitution Hill over the month to promote this. But I also want to say to everybody here, I think people in this room are activists. And one of the things that we've been challenged to do as Constitution Hill as a team is to actually support and grow the spirit of activism in this country. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is for the first time this year, from the 23rd to the 25th during Human Rights Month, we're going to be hosting the very first Human Rights Festival on Constitution Hill. And it's going to be huge. We've been inviting all such social justice organizations, NGOs involved in the field to come and exhibit. We're going sponsors involved so that this can be done. We're hosting activist music festival, kind of promoting activism through music, through the arts. There's a book festival, a poetry festival, and we want to encourage everybody that's here today who is part of a civil society organization or is just an activist to get the message out. I'm going to be sending Nadia all the information. We'd like as many of you to participate, either as part of your organizations or part of the community that will come together. And it's really about getting us to support each other in the causes that we're promoting and to really, really not let this country go to where it was in the last few years, because us as civil society are just not going to let it happen. So Nadia, thank you for choosing us, and we will do whatever we can do to support you and the team.
Next up is Rais Nurbai from Amnesty International at Wits.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends for the liberation of Palestine. I want to begin with a question. Who is Ahed Tamimi? If you had to ask the Israeli media, they will tell you she is a provocateur, a troublemaker, and above all, a terrorist. If you had to ask Michael Oren, the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, he would tell you that she is a fabrication created by Palestinians who are trying to defame the IDF in their so-called noble work of colonizing Palestine. The truth, however, is apparent to anyone who looks at this case without the distortions of propaganda. Ahed Tamimi is a child whose only crime is refusing to bow to occupation. She is being put on trial for the same reason the women who were shackled in this jail were put on trial, for refusing to be passive in the face of an apartheid state. Ahed Tamimi is a hero who is being shackled by a state which seeks to subjugate her. The extent of this subjugation is difficult to overstate. As the chair of an Amnesty International chapter, I've been asked multiple times which human rights have been violated in Ahed's case. The easier and more apt question is, which human rights have not been violated in Ahed's case? From her right to a free trial, to her free association, free movement, free expression, to her right to education, and even water. Put simply, Israel has robbed Ahed Tamimi and children like her of the right to live out their childhoods unhindered by the suffocation of occupation. This is neither incidental nor accidental. Ahed's trial is worthy of our attention not because it is out of the ordinary, but precisely because this is what passes as normal under an apartheid regime. Ahed is one of 350 Palestinian children currently in detention by Israel. She is one of 12,000 children that have been trialed since the turn of the century. When Palestinian children are considered to be terrorists in training, when they are not considered to be children at all, it speaks volume of the extent of the dehumanization. Israel violates systematically the Palestinians' human rights because it views the Palestinians as less than human. As South Africans, we are not unfamiliar with these notions. We are not unfamiliar with the tactics of administrative detention. We remember why these spaces are still barred as a memory. It is now our duty to extend an ethic of radical Ubuntu. I struggle because you are struggling. I revolt. I raise my voice. I refuse to be silent because you are, and I will resist anyone who tries to take your right to exist away from you, who tries to erase your very right to be free on your land. That is why we are here today, to send a message of solidarity to Ahed and all of the detained Palestinian children, to reaffirm that we will continue to call for their release and for the liberation of Palestine, and to send a message to the Israeli state. The world is watching. We will not be silent. We will not sit down. The noise will not go away. From here, it will only get louder. Thank you.
Thank you, Reis, for those resonant words. Next up, can I please call upon the Turkish ambassador, Elif, please forgive my pronunciation, Elif Çamoglu Ulyen.
Thank you everybody. Thank you, dear sisters, brothers, dear friends. When I was called by our dear brother Zeyno from Afghan that there was this exhibition on Ahed, and he kindly invited me as a Turkish ambassador, I really got very excited. I got excited because Ahed, we came to know Ahed 5-6 years ago by the Turkish people when she visited Turkey with her family. She was a very young, bright girl at that time, childish though, and now today she's at the brink of becoming a very beautiful young woman soon. And since then she has a special place in our hearts and minds. She received a very honorable prize at that time, and she visited a couple of cities, places in Turkey. It was the Handala Courage Award, even at the age of 12, back in 2012, she was even younger, I think 11. She was courageous, she was outspoken, she was beautiful. You could see the strength in her eyes. And as a woman myself, I always respect and I see the difference. Please forgive me, my dear male colleagues and friends, the difference between a man and a woman. I'm the mother of 3 boys, by the way, but women, a perfect motto I found out when I come to this beautiful country. You strike a woman, you strike a stone. You strike a rock. If It's exactly what's happening in the case of Ahed. Ahed has become a symbol. Ahed has become an icon of hope. Ahed has become an icon of the strength, not only of the Palestinian women, girls, but of all the Muslims, of all the women, I would talk on her behalf. She was also received by the then Prime Minister of Turkey, today's President Erdogan. We have beautiful images. Before coming here, I just searched a little bit on Google. I found out that on her interviews 5 years ago, she promised to President Erdogan that she wanted to become a lawyer. And another applaud to Ahed. Yes, I have my strongest belief, even if she is jailed today, she will become a lawyer. She will fight for the right of the Palestinian people. She will fight for the right of the women. She will fight for the right of humanity as a lawyer as well. And we will see those days, inshallah, together. So it's a great pleasure, and more than a pleasure and honor for me to represent my country and as my own here tonight, being amongst you. Of course, it's a very sad story. We all know the liberation struggle of Palestine is one struggle that we all feel back at home as well. And here in South Africa, I found the same kind of feelings. It is our own national struggle for each and every one of us, the struggle of the Palestinian people. We feel deep inside. Very recently, when the unfortunate unilateral declaration of the United States came along with recognizing Al-Quds as the capital of Israel.
لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك الحمد لله تافر وضح من حقك بس
Those at the back will be able to see it, but I'll leave it here. This image, which just came out after the unlawful recognition of Al-Quds as the capital of Israel. This is this wonderful young boy being captured by the Israeli soldiers. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this image will live with us wherever we are. For this image, we don't have to fight, because the fight is in our hearts. There is yet another image, which in Turkey, this one. This wonderful, wonderful baby boy with a Down syndrome. This image. As I said, these are the images of our age. We will always have them in our minds and in our hearts. And it's very difficult to get rid of these images, obviously. These two boys were hosted in Ankara right after these events. This gives me a lot of pride. I wanted to share this with you. I know you'll share the pride and the feeling, the warmth that it brings to our hearts. I strongly hope and believe that in the coming days, months, we will be able to meet with these wonderful boys, children, and again Ahed will be freed and come over to this very historic building where there is a lot of feelings, there are a lot of things that can't be really explained by words, and then we will have the joy and enthusiasm together. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I salute you with respect and with the love of all the Turkish people from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm a bit short. Thank you for those kind words. I would like to welcome Auntie Shanti, who is a South African stalwart who experienced indefinite detention. And you can speak from your seat if you want.
See, I feel that international solidarity is one of the most important things. Apartheid was one of the things that helped get rid of apartheid was the international solidarity that the movement inspired throughout the world. And therefore it is important that we build up the solidarity. And I would just like to give you a brief tell you about my experience, about my detention and being in solitary for a year and a week. I was detained in 1969 together with Winnie Mandela and others. And I was interrogated for 5 days without sleep. And then I was just left months later, I was brought to court and I was asked to give evidence where I refused. And I was sentenced to 2 months. But because I should have been an ordinary prisoner when I was sentenced, I wasn't accorded the privileges of like letter visits or anything of the sort. But I was still in detention, accepting that I wore prison clothes. And it still continued, my detention continued for a further 6 months. And suddenly they released me. And being in solitary for such a long time was really harrowing. And I could just imagine what it's like for all those Palestinian children sitting in prison and what they are going through. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I just wanted to also say that Shishant was actually held in this prison. Everything she said. And I want to tell you about my mother, who herself went to prison a few times, but all 5 of her children were either all 5 of her children were in prison. So my mother, Anna, would like our Palestinian mother, visits every jail in the country. My brother spent 10 years on Robben Island. Shanti, of course, said that she was there when I had my husband in prison. And my mother at one stage had 4 of her children and my husband in prison, so she was visiting every prison. But what I would like to say here, that we here need to lobby our government to cut all the dramatic ties. India was one of the first countries to cut a point of in England, in South Africa. Why can't we do it here? We really need to lobby our government and cut our government to cut a point of
Thank you so much, Auntie Shanti and Auntie Rabi, for sharing. Can I call on the other Irfan Mangira, to share with us his experience of the time he spent with Ahed and the other Palestinian children?
Amandla! Amandla! Okay, I don't know where to start, and I was told to speak on the youth front of this campaign. But anyway, in the space of a few weeks, I learned so much from Ahed Tamimi. I think from all the kids, she was the first to actually strike me because of the way she acted. She was quiet, and yet she had so much to tell as well. I actually feel privileged having gone with her throughout the country to various places and driving her around all the way to meet the Deputy President. And I think more than capturing my heart through love, she captured my heart through her courage. I learned firsthand what it means to be a freedom fighter living in today's time. She embodied qualities of true heroism, and she is a Wonder Woman that the world needs and that the world has. Her smile is enough to move mountains, and her eyes tell deep stories of pain and heartache. She is fearless. Her voice and actions, standing up against patriarchy, oppression, and injustice, is the reason why I continue to work in the various groups today. While working with young people during her trip here, she ensured that they understood what it means to be in the struggle and how our struggles are all connected. She also made sure that the young people that she met understood that justice and world peace would not come about without the active involvement of young people. She particularly drew attention to the role of women in society and the need for us to break down those barriers. Ahed, the Mockingjay, remains true to her beliefs and conviction, She is the symbol of hope for all young people across the globe. Today I stand before you conveying a call for all of us to act in all our spaces all the time, to challenge the ignorant and the misinformed and liberate their minds and hearts, so that the Zionist regime can be combated and isolated through the BDS movement, and that we continue this campaign until its very end, until the release of all the children and until the freedom. The campaign needs you and the children need you. While we sit here, hundreds of Palestinians remain in illegal detention. While we exercise our freedom, thousands of children have their access to education, healthcare, and other support denied. People are dying and suffering. We have to constructively engage and combat this body that is Israel. In conclusion, I would like to end with a quote from a letter to the youth of South Africa from Ahmed Kathrada after he was banned in 1954, and I quote, "The days ahead of us will be dark, and there will be many ups and downs in our struggle. It is for these dark days that we must prepare for many a comrade might begin to feel disillusioned, hopeless and helpless. Some will lose confidence in our struggle and fall by the wayside. You must always remember that the cause of freedom is just and invincible. There is no such thing as defeat. Remember that no struggle in any part of the world was won in drawing rooms and conference tables. We must at all times know that as with the struggles of all people, the main brunt will have to be borne by the youth. We expect you and each and every one of you to play your part, whatever you do, in sports, social, economic, and cultural areas. Remember the struggle. The future depends on you." Close quote. And yes, the days ahead of us will be dark, it's going to be long, but we need you to act. We need your time, and the organizations need your support to continue this fight. Thank you.
لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك، الحمد لله تافل وضح من حقك بس بلاش.
Our next speaker is someone who's been with us from day one and who's really, without whom this probably wouldn't be possible. I'd like to call on Bridget to please come up and share something. Is Bridget here?
Good evening, everyone. I have not been part of this group and the society for a very long time, but in the short time that I have been part of it, I have found that this is truly something we can believe in and something we can fight for. So I've realized that through decades that have passed, the fight for freedom worldwide has been taken up by people like Nelson Mandela, like Martin Luther King and Gandhi. But as we are now in modern times, the struggle falls upon the shoulders of the youth more and more. Like Ahed Tamimi, who now, as we have gathered here to celebrate her 17th birthday, sits alone in a jail cell in Israel. A few months ago, I didn't know who Ahed Tamimi was. Today, I can say with confidence that the name Ahed is synonymous with courage, with bravery, and with the unrelenting resistance against injustice. As the world gathers, we often think that as onlookers, the fight of the Palestinian people is not our problem, that we should have no part in it. But we forget that the Palestinian fight for freedom is not only the fight for the freedom of a country, but for the fight for human rights for each and every person inside of it. And as humans, we will be held responsible for our actions. Albert Einstein once said that the world would not be destroyed by people who do evil, but by those who stood by and watched without doing anything. Ahed refused to stand silent and passive as injustice crept into her country and her village. Jana refused. Nabi Saleh refused. A nation refused. Today it is our turn as youth to think, if the history books are opened, where would we stand? What would they say of us? It is our turn as the youth of South Africa and of the world to stand in solidarity with our friends and our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Ahed, the lioness of Palestine, stood firm, and the world heard her roar. She will not be silenced.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Being asked to speak here was an honor and a great burden because I don't think I have much to say on the issue. In the spaces that we're in, we sing a song called Umkhonto, which translates to "The Spear is Coming." And the song was taken from the camps of Umkhonto Wesizwe. And the song says, "The spear is coming." And in response, we sing, "Yitama guerrilla," meaning we are the guerrilla warriors. And what that song meant to me is that when all is said and done, we are ultimately the thing that we are looking for. There is nothing coming to save us. There is nothing from above or below, from the left or the right. We are the thing that is coming. Yitama guerrilla. And so when we think about the child prisoners, and we think about every single birthday that was spent behind bars, I think we must take courage, not in the fact that they have caught one of us, but in our standing without rock, without slingshot, without gun, without rubber bullet. The greatest fear of the Israeli apartheid state is a child, is a child's dream, and is a child's freedom, and is the child's navigation of that freedom. And so as we navigate this freedom, not only as the PSC at Visbas, as every single person sitting here, I would like us to remember that we are the thing that is coming, that Yitama guerrilla, that every childhood song that is sang, that every child who is frolicking about and thinking about the future in colors that has not been imagined, in songs that have not yet been heard, in a spirit that has not yet been captured by a state that has no right to exist. We are the terrorists in that world. And if that doesn't amaze you, I don't know what will. And so we sing once more, Umkhonto, and I hope we will all remember Yitama guerrilla. Thank you.
So, Nadia, do you want to come up and say something? I think we should all welcome Nadia to the podium to speak about, because really this is her exhibition.
Good evening. I would really like to have you all engage with the material. They're images, and I haven't included any text. So perhaps if you're wanting to know a little bit more detail about what the incidents were and why the reactions are that way, we are going to have that kind of information ready. At very short notice, we put this exhibition together, and unfortunately, a lot of that content was not available, tonight. But I'm happy to do a walkabout, and I lead you through that tonight. We also welcome you to leave your messages for Ahed. We've got postcards that we plan to send to the family, but also messages. As you see the images, if something really grabs you, we'd really appreciate your comment, and we'd like to send that to the family. So please enjoy the exhibition. It's going to be on for the entire month. What we are also going to be doing is trying to invite groups that want to learn a little bit more about this. We're inviting schools, and we will be also including screenings of a film that is made by the filmmaker that you saw, the little clip, the cartoon, the animation. Jesse Locke here has produced a film called Radiance of Resistance, which basically documented the struggles in Nabi Saleh seen through the eyes of the two girls, Jana Jihad and Ahed Tamimi. And those screenings a schedule will be out shortly about those. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you do enjoy this exhibition. There's also a petition that we'd like you to sign, and please make sure that you leave your name and details so that we can keep in touch with you and keep you updated. This exhibition will keep updating because, as we know, this is not resolved. Ahed, at the worst, will be facing a 14-year jail sentence. And so the case will be resumed next week. It was to have started today but because of all the outpouring internationally and the campaigns that have been waged by many NGOs, like in the US, in the UK, all over Europe, the decision was taken that it would not happen today. So we need to keep her in the limelight. She's not, of course, the only child that is in this predicament, but she's a visible child, and she wants her image to be used for the campaign to make the others visible. Just today, we had news that a 16-year-old boy was shot and killed, shot through the head, coming home from school. And again, we hear that it's a sniper. And he is the 4th child killed this year. And this is the first month of the year. So we need to be mindful of that, and we're hoping to keep you updated. Please visit our page, Two Sons Shamsan, and sign your name on the register, and we'll be sending you updates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nadia. And to end off the speakers program for tonight, please join me in welcoming Mavericks performing Palestine, the New Black.
لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك الحمد لله دافر وضح من حقك بس
think it is an event which very few South Africans, if they were exposed to it, would not be able to relate to. At the height of apartheid, there were many, many South African children in detention, in jail, and that is our history. And so the kind of international solidarity that we can offer Ahed Tamimi and her family is really based on our own experience. And we are so proud of her. We think of her as a freedom fighter. We think of her as a person who can inspire not only our own children, but children all over the world. So it's a privilege for all of us to be here. Just honest, true, pure love from South Africans, from Africans, and a sense of a future that is imminent, that Palestine will be free, and we long to see her again. I think we feel particularly strongly that Ahed's mother needs support. It is a desperately anxious situation for any mother, and that is aside from politics, aside from the fact that Ahed has become symbolic of a much greater global movement. And so we wish that we could wrap our arms around her and give her a sense of mothers around the world being there for her, and just empathy, understanding.
My name is Alia Mukram. I'm from Johannesburg. And the reason why I'm here is to support the Ahed Tamimi campaign, basically just to show my support for her. Being a teacher, I think it's important for our youth to be part of this campaign, to be aware of what's happening. And hopefully we can end the blockade. I think students should stand up, the youth should stand up and make their voices heard. Say that it's wrong, be in the limelight, put Ahed Tamimi as that icon. Say that it's not okay and that we will fight it, even if it is over social media.
Justin De Swart, I'm National Spokesperson for IAW 2018. I think at IAW we're very clear, this is apartheid. What is happening here with not just Comrade Ahed, but with children prisoners overall, should be confined to the history books. It should not be happening in 2018. And in March, from the 12th to the 18th, dozens of organizations will be organizing events as part of Israeli Apartheid Week to raise awareness and to ensure that things like this do not happen in future, that we cripple the Israeli regime and force them to treat Palestinians with dignity and to release child detainees. No child should have to face military detention, and arguably no child should be detained under any circumstances, least of all these circumstances where Ahed was simply standing up for herself in an occupied territory. I mean, I could walk out of this venue tonight and push around a police officer. I will be out of jail tomorrow. It is unacceptable that she faces up to 14 years in prison for defending her home, for defending her dignity. I think the youth of South Africa should and are appalled at this sort of thing. And I do not think they will let it stand, and we hope they will join us in March at Israeli Apartheid Week so that we can raise awareness and we can defeat this once and for all. Well, I think the most important message we can send her is that she must have a happy birthday. The circumstances now are despicable, and no child should face a birthday behind bars. But we hope that one day we will not only be celebrating her freedom, but we will be celebrating the freedom of Palestine, and that she will have many birthdays in a free Palestine.
Free, free Ahed! Free, free Ahed!
Okay, my name is Mohammed Shanawaz Valley. I'm from Johannesburg. We're here because of the Free Ahed campaign, so we're supporting that campaign.
Okay. And what do you think of the exhibition?
It's a beautiful exhibition, something small but nice.
I think it's fantastic because, when we talk about the Palestinian issue, it's always so broad. So I think it's quite important that we focus on the Palestinian children, and in particular the child political prisoners as well. There's so many dimensions to the Palestinian struggle. That's why the Ahed Tamimi campaign is so important, that it takes a particular focus and a particular aspect of the campaign. I think it's so important, but also because of the role of women, and Palestinian women in particular, in the struggle for a free Palestine. I think as far as BDS is concerned, and together with our partner organizations that we work with, in particular university-based Palestine Solidarity Committees, which in themselves are youth-based organizations, and as well as in communities as well, with upcoming International Israeli Apartheid Week, the plan is also to penetrate into communities and get more young people involved, to take up international solidarity work, and also appreciate internationalism and what international solidarity work did for the South African people. I think the one thing is that strength to them, strength to Ahed as well, but strength to Ahed and her comrades who also are in prisons as well. I think that, it takes an extraordinary human being, children in particular, and for your childhood to be stolen as well. I think it's quite devastating, and it's quite unfortunate. She should be playing, going to the malls, as a 17-year-old, preoccupying herself with many other things that, people in adolescent age are preoccupying themselves with, having fun with their friends at the malls or doing whatever the case might be. It's quite unfortunate that she's missing that. But strength to her and her comrades.
لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك بس بلاش العين لا 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 ما تسوى الدنيا تضيق خلقك الحمد لله ما حد بياخذ منك رزقك هدي وارتاح ثابر واطمح من حقك